Stop me if you've heard this one. You pull out your sketchbook, ready and eager to draw. Blank page staring right at you. All of a sudden, your head is empty, not of thoughts, but of capacity to draw. The thoughts are still there, they never stop. Not good enough to work on that idea yet, but I need to work more on expressions. Oh, I should practice hands too. Actually, it's getting kinda late and I've gotta cook dinner, but I really should be drawing more. So why is it so hard to draw? In my experience, the hard part is in that moment right between when you think about doing something and when you actually start to do it. It's in that ignition to start. It's hard because you can sit around problem solving it all you like, but actually moving is where you make progress. If I could flick a switch one day and turn my brain off and just go a day without a thought in my head, I think I'd jump at that opportunity. I am a chronic overthinker. As far back as I can remember, that's kinda how it's always been. Look, in my head's a pretty good place to be, but it's like my mind thinks that the way to solve problems is to think really hard about them. That way, when I have to face them, I'll have figured it out already from every possible angle. But the real world definitely doesn't work like that, and overthinking things just slows you down in the short and in the long term. So yeah, if I could flick that switch, power down, and just watch from the backseat of my mind from time to time, that sounds pretty nice, honestly, just for the experience of a quiet head. When I draw, a lot of the time I'll sit down, pull out my pen and sketchbook, and I'll start to draw figures or a face or something. But I know it's not what I actually want to be drawing, it's kind of just what's easy to do. So then I stop and think about what I actually want to be drawing and get stuck in this loop of overthinking. Like, oh, I'd like to design another video game, one with a voxel art aesthetic, that'd be a sick project to work on. But rather than starting to work on it then, I'll keep drawing those things that I default to and get stuck in this thought loop in my head, going down the rabbit hole of the things I still have to learn, writing notes down on what I should go practice next. Like, oh yeah, we could do that, but you can't draw voxel art on paper, that's way too tedious. Maybe if you digi-painted it instead, but you only know how to use a default round brush, so drawing tiny cubes is gonna be a bit tricky. We'd better go do some more studies so we can bridge that gap first, and so on and so on. It's like anything to stop you from actually just doing the thing. Or like if I've got a video to work on, my mind will start focusing on all the work I have ahead of me, wanting to get it in a neat little list instead of just picking the first thing up and running with it. Like with this video now, the only thing left over is this voiceover, but voiceover is the hardest part of making videos for me. So every opportunity to get distracted from it and overthink the direction I'm taking the script in, like maybe I should rewrite that intro one more time, and so on forever and ever. The thinking doesn't help, your mind wants you to believe that it does, because thinking about the problem ahead of you is safe, but actually grappling with it is tough. If you start working on your next drawing, but the expression looks dodgy, you're gonna feel like crap because it didn't live up to your expectations. So let's think ahead now and plan things out so we don't have that problem later. Let's go do studies instead. Maybe we should look up an Asara head or watch another Proco video. That way we can build more skill now so that our future drawings look better. All the while, you aren't actually looking up the video to learn from or doing any drawing at all, you're just thinking about it because that's one of the many good options to choose from, but let's make sure we're picking the right one of the many options. It's chronic overthinking. I already know what the next step is. It's just hitting pause for a moment and actually taking that first step that's the hardest part. And I think this is actually pretty universal. It's something I struggle with, but to some degree, I'm sure everyone has this problem because it's just part of how our minds work. When you're stuck on something, it's very rare that you don't already know the answer. The problem usually isn't a lack of information. We live in the information age, it is everywhere. But maybe because there's so much of it, it's easier to think that there's a solution to your problems buried out there in a book or podcast or a little bit further up the back of your mind. So what's the solution here? Are we just doomed to spend our lives in this loop of overthinking? I wish it was as easy as just stop thinking. To flick a switch in the brain that powers off your conscious thought and lets you just go on autopilot, but it's really not. At the same time though, I'm learning that it's not all that complicated either. I mean, how could it be complicated to not think? The complication comes in the thinking bit, duh, that's the whole problem. And see now, here's the frustrating part. You've had times where it is obvious, where you aren't overthinking and it all just seems so simple that there's no trick to it, there's nothing at all to think about. And yet, here we are, back again at square one. What works for me, when I actually catch myself at least, is to just hit pause. Whatever I'm doing, just stop. I'll set a timer for 5 minutes and just sit and do nothing, let my mind slow down a little bit. A lot of the time, I'll think, hey, I'm overthinking here. I should probably pause for a moment and chill my brain out. Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's think about that some more. Like, come on, brain, you thought up the answer and then tricked yourself into ignoring the solution? What the hell? Come on, work with me here. The times where I do pause though and take 5 minutes to just sit and do nothing, I come out the other side with a way clearer head, and it makes whatever problem I was dealing with way easier to tackle. Because if you remove the thinking about the problem, all that's left is either doing it or not doing it. And even if you're not doing it, you're better off not doing it with a clear mind than not doing it and feeling all frustrated and irritable because you can't seem to think your way to the solution. I don't know if this even makes sense outside of my head, but if you get it, you probably really get it. So we can be chronic overthinkers together. Something I've been doing lately though to try and combat this in art is to just lower the bar as much as possible. A lot of the overthinking as an artist comes in the not good enough sort of thoughts. It's when you draw a hand and the fingers are too long, or when the left eye is lopsided, or when you just can't get the idea to come out right, or whatever it is. So to challenge this, when I sit down to draw now, I try and come in with more the mindset of let's make bad art on purpose. Let's just focus on exploring the idea, but completely forget about quality. Because the thing is, you get better at what you practice, not what you think about practicing. And so it doesn't matter if you draw something bad, what matters for learning is that you engaged with it in the first place. Those drawings from the start of this video of those ugly little gumbly looking guys, I actually really like those, but the goal wasn't to create a good drawing, it was just to draw something dumb so the bar for entry was as low as possible, and so there's no resistance or thoughts of not good enough. It's like, not good enough for what? The drawing had no goal, it's exactly what it was supposed to be. No more and no less. And the more time I spend drawing like this, the easier it is to take the same headspace over into working on quote-unquote bigger projects. Because those bigger projects aren't actually any bigger, the actual moment-to-moment act of drawing is identical, you're just making lines on a page. There's nothing particularly hard about that. But since you've set up this expectation for how it needs to go, you fall into this cycle of overthinking each line or brushstroke. And again, I'm doing it here working on the voiceover for this video, because I build each one up like it's gotta be better than the last one. But if it's gonna be better than the last, it's not gonna be because I overthought every step of it. You make your best stuff when there's nothing there to interrupt that creative flow. It's not like the overthinking helps me write a better script or draw a more correct line. You can't think your way into drawing a straight line. It's entirely muscle memory, which comes from time and repetition. Conscious thought has absolutely zero impact on the end result here, only on how you feel about what you're making while you're making it. So that being the case, wouldn't you just be better off not thinking, throwing all that useless stress to the side and having fun along the way instead? It's weird that such a large chunk of the art journey is just about learning to live inside your own head peacefully, but that does seem to be the universal experience, and for how difficult it is, at least you come out the other side a little more well-rounded, so it's all worth the struggle in the long run. Speaking of struggle, it is 30 degrees in my room. I am absolutely melting. Enjoy the rest of this time lapse while I go finish off the video.